My name is Sean Bielat. I'm running against Barney Frank for Congress. I always like to put that out, raise the name recognition, reinforce the idea we can't get rid of Barney. For me, it's about the American dream. My grandfathers both served in World War II. My one grandfather worked as a prison guard for the rest of his career. My others worked in the shovel factory. My father went in the Air Force, got his education, eventually got a degree, but he was in the Air Force enlisted for 12 years, got out, and he worked as an engineer. My mom worked in social work, and she left that because she didn't like the attitude of entitlement, the fact that people forgot what it meant to work hard and try to push themselves forward. And she became a school teacher. So I'm from a very middle class, working class background. But because of what my grandparents did, my parents were able to take it a step further. Because of what they did, I was able to get a little bit further. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, 7 years in the Reserve. I'm currently majoring in the Reserve. I was able to get a Master in Public Policy from Harvard and an MBA from Wharton. I've been able to work in management consulting, and I ran a business line at iRobot, which makes defense robotics that go after roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan. But that progression is there, right? Each generation gets a little bit further, does a little bit better than the previous. And when I look around at where we are today, when I look at what's going on in Washington, when I look at the deficit, when I look at the decisions that are being made, I'm afraid that we're moving away from that dream. And I'm afraid that we're moving away from a society in which our children can expect to do better than we do. And I think we need to put a stop to that. I think we need to send people down to Washington who are going to remind us what this country is about, what made this country great, and put us back on path. We need to hold our elected officials accountable. Barney Frank, there's a lot of responsibility to go around for the real estate collapse and ensuing financial meltdown. There's not one individual anywhere who's more responsible than Barney Frank. And he hasn't been held accountable. People who worked on Wall Street lost money, lost jobs. People across the country lost value in their homes. What did Barney lose? The only way to hold him accountable is on November 2nd. And I think this year, people across the district recognize the importance of holding him accountable. This isn't just a Republican thing. This is an independent thing. This is a Democrat thing. People understand that what he did put this country in peril because he had a social agenda that he wanted to advance. Recently, he's brought up the topic of defense. He's talked about how we should save money so that we can continue to fund these social programs by cutting defense spending by a third. 30%, that's drastic. That's not small, that's major. This is a guy who's, I live in Brookline, I live in Coolidge Corner. About a month ago, 2 people with terrorist ties were arrested 4 blocks from my house. Last week in Mansfield, an individual was indicted, he's now in Syria, he was indicted for participation in a terrorist plot to kill a politician and to shoot up a shopping mall. The idea that now is the time to soften our security posture, to not focus on border security, to not do the things that will keep this country safe today and in a generation and in 2 generations, that disgusts me. That revolts me. That's entirely the wrong way to think. And when you're in office for 28 years and you're completely disconnected from reality, essentially, he's never been held accountable. He hasn't had a real opponent since 1982. He feels entitled to the office. He feels like he can go around talking about cutting defense by a third. He feels like he has no obligation to focus on the deficit. If you look at where we are today, we're going to be Greece before 2020, essentially. The idea that we're going to cut discretionary spending and that's going to get us there, that's foolish. We do need to cut discretionary spending. There's no 2 ways about it. But unless you take on entitlements, unless you take on Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare, you're not going to get there. And that takes political courage, and it takes a conviction that the financial well-being of this country is more important than the constituencies, the special interest groups who are asking today for benefits. And so that's why I'm running. That's what I'm here for.